Hey, it's Rena, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my August plan with me and some digital journaling. If you're new to my channel, I make videos on digital planning, journaling, tips and tutorials, so subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of this content. I'm doing a monthly plan with me today because I haven't done one of these in a while. Before I start, I'm changing my Apple Pencil tip to see if it improves my handwriting. I also want to test out some new stickers that I'm currently working on just to make sure they're functional before I add them to the shop. I want to focus on my well-being this month because I wrote down as one of my goals at the start of the year to prioritize my health, and I haven't been doing enough of that. I joined a gym recently and they have a bunch of classes, so I'm really excited to start going to some. I'm checking the classes timetable and dropping some in my calendar. This shoe is actually intended as a shopping sticker, but I figure it also works for dance class. I don't have a yoga sticker, so here I had to improvise with this bunny who looks like he could be doing yoga. I have a terrible track record of going to the gym regularly, but I'm hoping to find a fun way of exercising that I can stick with. Next, I'm dropping in some birthdays and going around the date box with a highlighter pen so it stands out more. If you hold, it will snap into a perfect rectangle, and then I just copy that over to the other birthdays. And I also changed the color to complement the underlying calendar. Then I decided to try out something I'd seen in a TikTok video, which was ideas for getting creative with lettering in Goodnotes, but that video made it look so easy, and it is actually really hard, as you can see from my wobbly lines. I think it would have been easier if I had written it small to begin with and then resized it larger. One of the reasons I love digital planning is just being able to try stuff out and not being afraid of permanently messing up my page. I'm currently working on this everyday stickers pack, and I haven't yet decided whether to have words accompanying them, and if so, where it should be positioned. And after messing around with it, I somehow ended up undoing my earlier lettering, as I discovered here. So I did it all over again, and let me tell you, it was no easier the second time round. Since it's August and the weather here is really sunny, I'm decorating with some summer stickers, and then I got a little bit carried away. Here I'm trying out another creative lettering idea, and I think this one turned out pretty good, although it did take me several attempts before I was happy with it. I wrote this word as a reminder to myself to be grateful every day because I find it really easy to just take things for granted. Making YouTube videos currently take up a lot of my time, and one of my goals this year was to get faster at it so I can make more videos. I love the saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and I'm totally guilty of spending ages polishing something that's probably good enough already. I'm even worse when it comes to sticker making, which is why I've been working on these everyday stickers for absolutely ages. Despite having lots on my plate this month and generally feeling behind with my to-do list, I want to slow down a bit and have some days where I can completely switch off from the business and just do some relaxing activities. I think it's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're too busy, and I would rather take a couple of things off my to-do list and just accept that I'll do them at a later time. Dan and I have been treating ourselves to some spa visits, and it was an amazing way to de-stress, and I'm hoping to do more self-care type of activities in August, even if it comes at the sacrifice of getting stuff done. Here I'm using the Shapes tool to make a color changing sticky note, and you can tap the undo button to remove the border and duplicate it a couple of times to get a more vibrant color. Then I added a decorative white frame and a text title. You can use the lasso tool to change the color of the sticky note, and you can add stickers and writing over it, although I prefer to use the text tool because if you do handwriting, you won't be able to erase it without erasing the shape as well. And with text, it's possible to change the color independently of the sticky note. I've seen people do amazing calligraphy in Goodnotes using the brush pen, so I thought I'd try it myself. But it didn't turn out so well, and I found it insanely hard to get the pressure right at the correct places. Here I'm duplicating it and changing the color to give it a drop shadow effect. Afterwards, I found this practice sheet, so hopefully next time I try this, it will actually look like calligraphy. With the exception of a couple of tasks, most of my work is not really date specific, so I'm just writing them on the side of the calendar. I'm usually too optimistic with estimating how long things take, so I avoid trying to schedule them into specific dates. I'm using these fine Apple pencil tips to see if it improves my handwriting. I haven't noticed any significant improvements, but I like that the tips are really fine and precise. The biggest thing that helped with my handwriting is the type of screen protector, and I found that the rougher the texture, the easier it is for me to write neatly, but I've yet to find a rough one that doesn't feel like sandpaper. So here's how my August page looks so far, and I'm happy I got to test out my everyday stickers. Next, I'm doing some digital journaling, and I used to journal every day about what I did that day, how I felt, or if I had a weird dream. And since I've gotten busier, I rarely journal these days, and I really miss it. I've set the text box width so that the line returns automatically at the end of the page, and I've also set this font style and size as default so that every time I place down a text box, it remembers my font settings. Where I live, there's wild ducks and birds everywhere, and Dan and I love feeding them when we go walking in the park.
Oh, look at the white one.
What's that? Oh, it's a duck. It's a duckling. I recently discovered some really interesting facts, and I've been reading all about how to befriend birds in your garden, so I thought I'd write it all down, and maybe one day when I come back to read this page, I'll be like, hey, this was that time I was obsessed with birds. When I journal, I like to write a lot, and I also like to write fast, so my handwriting can get pretty messy, which is why I prefer to type. If you want to rearrange your page, it's also very convenient having text boxes, because you can just change the width of the text box and the contents will change to fit. This keyboard I'm using works surprisingly well despite me messing it up in my last video, where I took off the original white keycaps and put on these gradient ones. I'm adding the photos from my camera roll, and some of these are just web images I saved earlier. I've been wanting an excuse to buy a Polaroid camera, but since all my stuff is digital these days, I can't quite justify it, so for now I'll just have to be content with playing around with Polaroid stickers. Some of you expressed interest in a Polaroid stickers pack, which I would love to make, although if I can't come up with enough stickers for a pack, I might just put a few in the freebies vault. Recently, I asked you guys if you prefer me talking in these videos, and the response was an overwhelming yes, so I'll definitely carry on talking over them. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button for more of my videos and check out my other videos in the meantime. See you next time!